Here's the most ironic underscore you'll ever hear. Ladies have spent years urging guys to become more empathetic, more in touch with their feelings, less forceful, less macho. They criticize men for classic male traits, label them harmful, push for men to get milder, kinder, more ladylike. And then what occurs? Those identical women flip and gripe that there aren't any genuine men anymore. They engineered precisely what they requested, and now they're repulsed by it. Allow me to break down this crazy contradiction, because once you grasp it, you'll understand why contemporary romance is such a mess. For half a century, females have been methodically breaking down conventional manhood. Avoid being pushy. Open up about your emotions. Shed tears often. Show weakness. Allow females to take the reins. Examine your advantages. Manhood is poisonous. They've transformed educational institutions into sentimental havens where lads can't even engage in chase games because it's overly intense. They've medicated boys with ADHD drugs for behaving like typical boys. They've built a culture where male-like actions are stigmatized and female-like actions are praised, and voila, it succeeded. They effectively produced a cohort of mild, sentimental, submissive males who seek approval before a kiss, divide the bill during outings, and weep at chick flicks. Guys who avoid initiating contact because that's assault. Guys who refuse to guide because that's oppressive. Guys who won't defend them because that's harmful manhood. Well done, gals. You received precisely what you specified. But this is where it becomes comical. These identical females who insisted on compassionate males are now on matchmaking sites lamenting, where did all the authentic men disappear? They're in therapy sessions, sobbing about how their partner is overly kind and there's no chemistry. They redreaming of being overpowered while seeing males they've conditioned to request consent prior to any contact. I had a lady client recently, accomplished attorney, empowered self-reliant female. All that underscore she devoted years to romancing the precise kind of guy she claimed she desired. Compassionate, pro-equality, sentimental, encouraging. You know what she confided? I feel like I'm romancing my best friend with male anatomy. There's no erotic chemistry. Seeks approval for every action. I wish he'd simply assume control, but he's scared of upsetting me. Madam, you molded him. You and all females similar to you invested decades in forming males that assuming control is harmful, that male dominance is suppression, that male vigor is risky. And now you're astonished that males took you seriously. You're stunned that males adjusted to what you claimed you desired. This resembles requesting a veggie dish and then whining it's not a beef cut. The organized erosion of manhood began in education. Young lads can't remain seated for extended periods. Medicate them. They desire to roughhouse and rival. That's overly intense. Issue them detention. They desire to simulate battles. It's encouraging brutality. Force them to role-play domestic scenes instead. We've essentially outlawed standard boy conduct. And then puzzle over why we're generating feeble, perplexed males. Then it persists into teen years. Adolescent lads are informed their innate romantic urges are exploitative. A rivalry is poisonous. Their urge to safeguard and supply is archaic. They're instructed that being male is something to regret, not something to cherish. The coming era is feminine. They're informed. Move over and permit females to direct so they comply. And females grumble there are no directors remaining. Examine matchmaking platforms. Females' bios are packed with requirements. Must be over 6 feet. Earn high salary. Possess property. Have transportation. Be amusing. Be self-assured. Assume responsibility. Organize outings. Cover all costs. But males' bios, I'm pro-equality. I honor females. I'll pamper you royally. I'm different from typical guys. They've been conditioned to express regret for being male prior to even connecting. And when these emasculated males attempt to romance catastrophe, they inquire, is this acceptable? Repeatedly, they're petrified of advancing. The message for extended periods without proposing a meet because they avoid appearing insistent. They handle females like delicate glass figures who could break if they display any male vigor. It's not appealing. It's pitiful. And females recognize it. But here's the key. Males didn't select this. They evolved to endure. In the present cultural environment, classic male conduct can wreck your existence. Initiate contact incorrectly. sexual misconduct, voice desire, dehumanization, assume control and employment, harmful manhood, display intensity and rivalry, troublesome actions. Males have discovered that the securest route is total inactivity. I advise fellows constantly who are utterly frightened of females, not because they're frail, but because they're intelligent. They've witnessed what transpires when you misinterpret cues. They've observed professions demolished by claims. They've seen males' existences devastated for conduct that was standard 2 decades prior. So, they opt for security over manhood. Can you fault them? You, meanwhile, females are obtaining precisely what they requested and despising it. They desired sentimental males. Now their partner weeps more than they do. They desired balanced companions. Now no one decides cause all requires agreement. They desired non-intense males. Now no one will shield them when underscore hits the fan. Be cautious what you desire. The armed forces understands this. You know? Why battle efficiency declines when you soften preparation? Because conflict doesn't care about your emotions. When projectiles begin soaring, you require intensity, structure, rapid judgment, managed force. All the characteristics we've been eliminating from males for multiple generations, we're generating males who can't safeguard anybody, including themselves. And females sense this instinctively. Their rational mind claims they desire a compassionate pro-equality supporter. But their instincts crave a guardian, a supplier, a director. This generates mental conflict. They romance the males they believe they ought to desire, but their physiology doesn't react. No excitement, no appeal, no stimulation, because you can't bargain with instincts. I observe this regularly in my work. Female arrives complaining about her harmful former partner. He was intense, commanding, decided without input from her. Classically male. He was such a jerk, she states. A lowing phrase, the intimacy was amazing, and I still obsess over him. Then she displays her present partner. Gentle, affectionate, seeks consent for all. He's ideal theoretically, but zilch. He's dull. He doesn't trigger her primitive appeal mechanisms. He doesn't make her feel womanly because he's not male. Doesn't generate erotic tension because there's no risk, no sharpness, no authority imbalance. He's been castrated by culture. Now she questions why she's not drawn to the creation she assisted in forming. The professional setting is where this becomes truly evident. Firms promote joint direction, agreement formation, sentimental awareness, essentially female direction approaches. What transpires? Judgment slows dramatically. No one desires to accept accountability. All are scared to be straightforward. Gatherings turn into counseling meetings. Output drops. Then they question why nothing accomplishes. Classic male structures existed for a purpose. Distinct direction, specified duties, resolute steps, rival-based excellence. It wasn't flawless, but it functioned. It constructed societies, triumphed in conflicts, generated wealth. We've substituted it with feel-good group discussions where no one's leading and all's emotions count more than outcomes. And who endures most? Females. Because while they've been occupied, eroding manhood, they still anticipate males to fulfill classic male duties when suitable. Cover outings, but don't anticipate intimacy. Shield them, but don't be forceful. Direct, but don't be commanding. Supply, but don't anticipate gratitude. Be male, but only when they desire it, as they desire it, without being informed when or how. This choosy liberation is ruining connections. Females desire all the advantages of equality and all the advantages of convention. They desire to be self-sufficient but also sustained. They desire to direct but also be directed. They desire fairness when it aids them and preferential handling when it doesn't. And males are withdrawing because the setup is unfair. Young males today are totally underscore they're nurtured by lone moms, who instruct them to be kind. They attend institutions managed by females who penalize male conduct. They absorb content that depicts manhood as either harmful or ridiculous. They join a romance scene where being male is a disadvantage. Then culture questions why they're escaping into digital entertainment and adult content. The digital gaming aspect is revealing. You know why young males devote countless hours to gaming? Because it's the sole arena remaining where male principles still operate, distinct goals, rivalry, structure based on ability, prizes for success, no emotions, no agreement required, no regrets for triumphing. It's the final sanctuary of classic male mindset. And adult content isn't about intimacy. It's about straightforwardness. No conflicting messages, no underscore evaluations, no sentimental control, no dread of bogus claims. Just direct erotic interaction without the hazard of current romance. Is it beneficial? No, but it's safer than attempting to maneuver the unfeasible inconsistencies of what contemporary females claim they desire versus what they truly react to. The fertility decline makes complete sense in this situation. Why would males commit to union and offspring when the arrangement is so unfavorable? You're supposed to be the main supplier while being informed your input is irrelevant. You're meant to be a balanced companion while possessing no real power. You hazard forfeiting half your possessions in connection to your offspring if she's dissatisfied. It's not a collaboration, it's a death contract. Here's what's truly underscore the males who remain. Classically male, they're dominating. While all others are bewildered about sex positions, these fellows are succeeding. Females are so deprived of real manhood that when they meet it, they go wild. That's why the rebels always succeed. It's not because females enjoy mistreatment, but because these males haven't been tamed. I know this charmer, total underscore by any standard. Doesn't seek approval, doesn't express regret, doesn't yield, seizes what he desires, voices what he believes, directs without agreement. You know what? Females queue for him. The identical females who share equality slogans on social media are pleading for his focus because he's among the rare males remaining who hasn't been housebroken. This generates a harsh romance scene. The males possess numerous choices and no necessity to settle. The softened males possess zero choices and nothing to provide. Females oscillate between rogues who won't settle and kind fellows they're not drawn to. All are unhappy. It's all because we demolished the framework that truly functioned. The conventional framework wasn't ideal, but it was operational. Males understood what was required, supply and safeguard. Females understood what was required, care and aid. All understood their position, their worth, their input. There was transparency. Now, no one knows what the underscore they're supposed to do. Males don't know how to be males. Females don't know what they desire. And all are perplexed. And before females in the replies begin yelling about reverting to the 1950s, that's not what I'm stating. I'm stating you can't have it both ways. You can't eradicate classic manhood and then gripe there are no classic males. You can't insist on fairness and then anticipate preferential handling. You can't dismantle sex positions and then be astonished when males don't fulfill their conventional position. The resolution isn't complex, but it demands truthfulness. First, acknowledge that male and female are supplementary, not rival, distinct but equivalent. Each possesses worth, each possesses aim. Cease attempting to soften males and harden females. Permit lads to be lads without medicating them. Permit males to be males without criticizing them. Second, be steady. If you desire classic males, endorse classic manhood. If you desire contemporary balanced connections, cease anticipating classic male conduct. Select a framework and adhere to it. This choosy implementation, where males receive all the obligations of both frameworks, but none of the advantages, is unviable. Third, comprehend instincts don't care about philosophy. Females are drawn to male males. Males are drawn to female females. This isn't cultural indoctrination. It's biological programming. You can combat it, but you'll fail. Every culture that's attempted to erase sex distinctions has fallen. There's a cause for that. Fourth, restore excellence and responsibility. She's shielding females from the results of their decisions while holding males entirely accountable for theirs. If a female selects a rebel and gets injured, that's her fault. If a male selects to be submissive and gets ignored, that's his. Equal privileges means equal responsibility. Examine thriving connections today. They nearly always have distinct sex contrast. Even in same-sex female connections, there's typically a more male and more female companion. Even in the most equality-focused pairs, someone must direct, someone must comply. The pairs who attempt to be fully equivalent in all, they're either unhappy or separated. The males who are succeeding today grasp this. They've dismissed the indoctrination and accept their essence. They build muscle while others practice relaxation exercises. They establish companies while others pursue job equilibrium. They direct without regret while others seek approval. And voila. Allah. Females swarm to them, including the ones who assert to despise all they stand for. I inform young males this constantly. Cease heeding what females claim they desire. Observe what they react to, they claim. They desire compassion. Observe them pursue the fellow who doesn't care about their emotions. They claim they desire fairness. Observe them yield to a male who assumes control. They claim they despise harmful manhood. Observe them underscore the most harmful fellow they can locate. This isn't females being deceitful. They truly think they desire these things. But thought and instincts are distinct. Their rational mind has been conditioned by equality, but their subconscious appeal mechanisms are eons old. When the two clash, instincts triumph every time. Sorrow is that all lose in this framework. Males are bewildered and withdrawing. Females are irritated and isolated. Offspring mature, without dads or with feeble dad models. Culture becomes less secure, less efficient, less content. All because we chose to battle human essence instead of collaborating with it. Classic sex positions developed for a cause. They function. They produce stable households, operational cultures, transparent anticipations, when males know how to be males and females know how to be females. All proceeds smoothly. When you attempt to make all identical, all shatters. We're experiencing the shatter right now. The swing is beginning to reverse, though. Young males are re-exploring manhood through individuals like Jordan Peterson, Jocko Willink, and yes, even Andrew Tate. They're dismissing the softened indoctrination and accepting their essence. They're building muscle, launching. Companies, establishing limits, declining to regret being males. And young females, they're beginning to recognize something's amiss, too. They're weary of mild males who can't decide. They're weary of being the director by default. They're weary of romancing males who are more sentimental than they are. They're beginning to confess softly that perhaps their mom's era erred. But the harm is profound. We've nurtured two cohorts of males who don't know how to be males. We've produced females who don't know what they desire. We've demolished the cultural mechanism that produced stable households for millennia. And now we're astonished that all are unhappy, isolated, and perplexed. The matchmaking apps disclose the reality. Females approve 4% of males, the ones who still exhibit male characteristics. Stature, physique, self-assurance, command, assets, all the things equality claims shouldn't count. Meanwhile, the kind fellows who adhered to the guidelines, who transformed into what females claimed they desired, they receive zilch. 0 connections, 0 outings, 0 intimacy. This produces a nasty loop. The rare males remaining have boundless choices, so they don't settle. Why should they? They can have a new female nightly. The softened males have 0 choices, so they become even more begging and subservient. Females oscillate between dominants who won't settle and submissives they're not drawn to. The resolution begins with truthfulness. Females need to confess they generated this issue. They insisted males alter, males altered, and now they dislike the outcome. You can't devote half a century eroding manhood and then question where all the males vanished. They vanished where you directed them, distant. Males need to cease heeding female romance guidance. Females provide guidance that would produce the ideal best friend with male parts, not an appealing male. Just be authentic. Be more sentimental. Open your emotions. This is guidance for producing pals, not partners. If you desire to draw females, be male. Full stop. We need to cease medicating lads for being lads. Cease penalizing male conduct in education. Cease treating male romance as exploitative. Cease criticizing males for their essence. Permit lads rival, battle securely, risk create structures. These aren't flaws in male mindset, they're assets. We need to restore male arenas and male guidance. Lads require elder males to instruct them how to be males. It's not females' notion of how males ought to be, but real male insight transmitted across eras. The erosion of male-exclusive arenas has been disastrous for male growth. Females need to determine what they truly desire and be. steady about it. If you desire a classic male-male, you need to be a classic female-female. If you desire a balanced collaboration, cease anticipating classic male conduct. You can't insist on a 1950s spouse while being a 2024 equality advocate. Select a path. Most crucially, we need to recognize that males and females are distinct. It's not superior or inferior, but distinct with distinct strengths, distinct flaws, distinct requirements, distinct positions. Supplementary, not rival. When we collaborate, we're invincible. When we oppose each other, all lose. The current framework is unviable. Union rates are dropping. Fertility rates are under sustainment. Males are withdrawing. Females are increasingly isolated. Offspring are maturing without dads. Culture is becoming more broken. This isn't advancement, it's societal decay. But there's optimism. Instincts are mightier than philosophy. Regardless how much cultural indoctrination attempts to supersede it, nature discovers a path. Males are re-exploring manhood. Females are confessing they desire male males. The swing is reversing. The sole query is how much harm will occur before we revert to reason. The awakening movement, for all its shortcomings, is a natural reaction to this madness. Males are exchanging insights, comparing encounters, determining what truly functions versus what they've been informed should function. They're realizing that all they were instructed about females and connections was incorrect, and they're furious. Can you fault them? Adhered to the guidelines, transformed into what females claimed they desired, and received zilch. They were deceived their whole existences. Informed that being kind, compassionate, and pro-equality would make them appealing. Instead, they observed the harmful males they were informed not to be obtained. All the females they were informed they'd obtain by being decent. The deception is astonishing. Males voice irritation about this, and they're labeled loners. Haters of women, harmful, but they're just highlighting the evident inconsistency. Females claim they desire one thing but select another. And when males observe this pattern and adjust, they're the villains. Make it logical. Here's what no one discusses. The females who comprehend it, the ones who value male. Males aid their companions' direction, grasp supplementary positions. They're in content, secure connections while their equality-focused pals are isolated with their pets questioning where all the decent males vanished. These females grasped that combating human essence is a failing struggle. I advise pairs where the female actively endorses her male's manhood. She motivates him to build muscle, decide, assume control. She makes room for him to be male. And you know what? These connections flourish. The intimacy is excellent. The collaboration functions. All are content because they're collaborating with instincts, not opposing it. The business realm is gradually awakening to this too. Firms that accepts male direction principles, distinct structure, resolute steps. Rival-based excellence surpass those sinking in agreement formation and emotions. The most thriving firms are reverting to what functions, not what appears pleasant in a reclusion workshop. Here's the essence. Females generated the males they now gripe about. They insisted on compassion, obtained it, and despise it. They eroded classic manhood and now question where the authentic males vanished. They altered the guidelines, and our irritated males adjusted to the fresh guidelines. You prepared your resting place, now rest in it. Or preferably, confess you erred. Confess that classic manhood possesses worth. Confess that you're drawn to robust, self-assured, resolute males. Confess that the equality trial has flopped. Confess that males and females are distinct, and that's fine. Confess that you desire a male who behaves like a male, not a female with male parts. So the males reading this, cease regretting being males. Cease seeking approval to be male. Cease heeding what females claim and observe what they do. Be robust. Be self-assured. Assume control. Establish limits. Build muscle. Construct something. Rival. Triumph. The females who count will react. The ones who don't weren't valuable your time regardless. To the females reading this, be truthful about what you desire. If you desire a male, endorse male males. Cease attempting to soften males and then griping they're not male enough. You can't possess your dessert and consume it too. Select what you desire and embrace the compromises that accompany it. Leave a remark below about your encounter with this. Males, have you been informed to be compassionate only to be dismissed for it? Females, do you discover yourself drawn to males who represent the harmful characteristics you assert to despise? Let's have a truthful discussion about this, because until we confess the reality, nothing will alter. And if nothing alters, all lose.